Have you ever wondered why know thyself was so important to Socrates, and how it still applies to our lives today? We're about to unravel the mysteries of Socratic philosophy, a school of thought that places great emphasis on self-reflection. Socrates, a classical Greek philosopher, was known for his profound wisdom and his relentless pursuit of truth. His philosophy encourages us to question, to probe, and to dissect our beliefs and assumptions. Why? Because he believed that the unexamined life is not worth living. For Socrates, a life well lived involves a continuous journey of self-discovery and self-improvement. This philosophy is not just an ancient ideology, it's as relevant today as it was over 2,000 years ago. It's about understanding our own minds, our actions, and our choices. It's about seeking wisdom and clarity in a world that's often clouded by ignorance and misconception. So let's delve deeper into the life of Socrates and his philosophy to understand the power and importance of self-reflection. Born in Athens, Greece, around 469 BC, Socrates was not from a family of philosophers, nor was he formally educated. He was the son of a stonemason and a midwife, embodying humble beginnings that would later shape his pragmatic approach to philosophy. Socrates himself followed his father's footsteps, becoming a stonemason by trade. It was during this time he developed an appreciation for the intricacies and complexities of life, learning to question the world around him. This curiosity would later lay the foundation for his philosophical inquiries. His life took a different turn when he served as a hoplite, a heavily armed foot soldier in the Peloponnesian War. The experience of war instilled in him a deep sense of duty towards his city-state, Athens, and a profound understanding of human nature in its rawest form. The battlefield was a crucible where his philosophical ideas about morality, courage, and justice were honed. After the war, Socrates returned to Athens, but he didn't return to his work as a stonemason. Instead, he dedicated his life to thought and discourse. He became a familiar figure in the Agora, the marketplace of Athens, where he engaged his fellow citizens in philosophical conversations. He challenged their beliefs, questioned their knowledge, and invited them to look inward and examine their own values and actions. This was the birth of his philosophical method, a method that would later bear his name. Throughout Socrates' life, he never wrote down his teachings, relying instead on dialogue and discussion. His words and ideas have been passed down to us through the writings of his students, such as Plato and Xenophon. This unique approach to philosophy, his relentless pursuit of wisdom, and his commitment to the examined life stirred both admiration and controversy. Despite his lack of formal education, Socrates became one of the most influential philosophers of all time. But his journey was not without controversy or conflict. The Socratic Method, named after Socrates, is a form of inquiry and discussion between individuals with opposing viewpoints. This approach, which might seem simple at first glance, is a powerful tool that has been shaping minds and challenging beliefs for over 2 millennia. At its core, the Socratic Method is a form of cooperative, argumentative dialogue. It involves asking and answering questions to stimulate critical thinking and to draw out ideas and underlying presumptions. It's like peeling an onion layer by layer to reveal the heart of the matter. In ancient Athens, Socrates would engage in these dialogues with his fellow citizens, questioning their beliefs and assumptions. He didn't do this to belittle or ridicule them, but to challenge them to think deeply, to scrutinize their own views, and to seek truth. His method was not about winning an argument, but about pursuing knowledge and wisdom. Socrates would start with a general question, for instance, what is virtue? From the responses he received, he would ask further questions, exposing contradictions, challenging assumptions, and pushing his interlocutors to refine their views. This process was not just about finding an answer, but about the journey of exploration and discovery. In today's world, the Socratic Method is not just confined to philosophy. It is used in classrooms to foster critical thinking and active learning. It is used in law schools to train future lawyers in analytical thinking. It is even used in psychotherapy to help individuals gain insights about themselves. But perhaps the most powerful application of the Socratic method is in our everyday lives. It encourages us to question our own beliefs, to challenge our own assumptions, and to seek truth with an open mind. It reminds us that wisdom does not come from having all the answers, but from the humble recognition of our own ignorance and the perpetual quest for understanding. Through the Socratic method, Socrates taught us the importance of questioning and critical thinking, a lesson that remains vital today. So next time you're faced with a decision or a dilemma, remember to ask, to question, to think. That is the power of the Socratic method. For Socrates, know thyself was more than just a phrase, it was a way of life. This ancient philosopher, brimming with undying curiosity and a relentless pursuit of wisdom, held self-reflection in the highest regard. He believed it to be the cornerstone of virtue, the very essence of a fulfilling life. Socrates often emphasized self-knowledge, urging us to plunge into the depths of our minds, to question our beliefs, our actions, and our decisions. He proposed that one must first understand oneself before attempting to understand the world. This introspection, he argued, was the most certain path to wisdom and virtue. But what exactly did Socrates mean by self-knowledge? It was not merely about knowing one's likes or dislikes or one's strengths or weaknesses. Rather, it was about examining and understanding one's own thoughts, beliefs, and actions. It was about questioning the self, challenging one's own assumptions, and seeking truth within oneself. Socrates believed that such rigorous self-examination would lead to virtue. He argued that by understanding ourselves, by scrutinizing our actions and our motivations, we could identify our flaws and weaknesses, and in recognizing these, we could strive to rectify them, to become better individuals. It was this pursuit of self-improvement, this quest for virtue, that Socrates believed would ultimately lead to wisdom. Fast forward to today, and Socrates' teachings continue to resonate. In an era marked by constant stimulation and distraction, his call for introspection rings truer than ever. We are urged to take a step back from our hectic lives, to reflect upon our actions and decisions, to understand ourselves better. In this way, we too can strive for virtue and wisdom. Indeed, self-reflection is not just about personal growth. It also helps us understand others better, fosters empathy, and promotes harmonious coexistence. It allows us to contribute to society in a meaningful way, engendering a sense of fulfillment and contentment. Socrates' emphasis on self-reflection reminds us of the importance of introspection in our pursuit of knowledge and understanding. So let us all take a moment to reflect, to know ourselves a little better, and to heed the wise words of Socrates. Know thyself. Socrates was sentenced to death for his philosophical inquiries, but his legacy lives on. In the city of Athens, over 2,000 years ago, the citizens found Socrates guilty of corrupting the youth and not believing in the gods of the state. The penalty was death by consuming a drink containing poison hemlock. Socrates, unfazed by the prospect of death, willingly accepted his fate, believing it was more honorable to die for his convictions than to live a life devoid of philosophy. His courage in the face of death marked the beginning of an enduring legacy that still influences our society and thought today. We can see the echoes of Socratic philosophy in almost every corner of our modern world. His method of inquiry, known as the Socratic dialogues, has taken root in our educational systems, encouraging critical thinking and the pursuit of truth. Socrates believed that the unexamined life was not worth living, and today this sentiment is echoed in our emphasis on self-reflection and personal growth. Many of our laws and moral codes are deeply influenced by Socratic philosophy. Socrates was a staunch believer in the power of morality, and he championed the idea that wrongdoing harms the doer more than the victim. This idea has shaped our understanding of justice and has been instrumental in the development of our legal systems. Socrates' concept of the Socratic ignorance, where he professed to know nothing, is a humbling reminder of the vastness of knowledge. It encourages intellectual humility, a trait that is highly valued in our quest for learning and understanding in this information age. The influence of Socrates extends beyond academia and governance. His philosophies have touched the realms of art, literature, and even psychology. His life and teachings have been portrayed in plays, films, and novels, inspiring countless generations to question, reflect, and strive for wisdom. Even centuries after his death, Socrates' philosophy continues to inspire us to question, reflect, and strive for wisdom. His teachings constantly remind us of the power of critical thought and the importance of moral integrity. Socrates may have been sentenced to death for his philosophical inquiries, but his legacy, his spirit of relentless questioning and pursuit of truth, most certainly lives on. So why is know thyself still significant today? This question weaves the thread that binds our entire discussion. We've journeyed through the life of Socrates, delved deep into his method of questioning, and discovered the transformative power of self-reflection. The Socratic philosophy, centered around the maxim know thyself, transcends time and space, remaining as relevant today as it was over 2,000 years ago. It prompts us to question our beliefs, to reflect on our actions, and to continually strive for wisdom. It teaches us that knowledge is not static but dynamic, evolving with every question we ask and every answer we find. It encourages us to challenge the status quo, to look beyond the surface, and to seek truth in its purest form. In essence, the Socratic philosophy is not just a philosophy. It's a way of life, a path to self-discovery, and a guide to living a meaningful life. In the words of Socrates, the unexamined life is not worth living. So keep questioning, keep reflecting, and keep striving for wisdom.